You are listening to Housekeepers Chat by the United States Department of Agriculture from 1927. Disclaimer: this is read from a historic archive document. Do not assume content reflects current scientific knowledge, policies, or practices. This broadcast was aired on the 4th of January of 1927.
A good old-fashioned boiled dinner, easily planned and easily prepared, is the headliner on today's program. There are some excellent ideas on meal planning, and at the very last, a most appetizing dessert. The recipes and the menu have been approved by the United States Bureau of Home Economics.
Do you feel like eating a boiled dinner today or tomorrow? A boiled dinner which will include corned beef and many vegetables, onions, turnips, parsnips, carrots, potatoes, cabbage, and bread. But that's enough vegetables for any boiled dinner. This one has all the makings of a regulation boiled dinner, but there's a world of difference in the method of cooking. Before I go into detail about the boiled dinner, I must answer a question which is puzzling a lady in Omaha. Please tell me, she writes, some of the elementary principles of meal planning so that I can prepare nourishing meals for my family. I am answering this question by radio rather than by letter because it is of interest to every housewife who plans her meals and does her cooking. As I have said before, there are 5 main groups of foods. Planning meals is simply combining these 5 groups in the right proportions in wholesome, attractive, and appetizing ways. Not a difficult task if you make simplicity your rule. It is not necessary to have a food from every group in every meal, provided each group is represented somewhere in the daily diet. I will enumerate again the 5 main groups of food we consider when planning wholesome meals. You may take brief notes if you like. Group 1. Vegetables and fruits. Vegetables and fruits are rich in mineral matter, which we need for bones and teeth and other tissues, and to keep the body in good working order. They contain vitamins necessary for normal growth, and bulky material which helps prevent constipation. Group 2. Efficient protein foods. In this group we have milk, eggs, cheese, meats, poultry, fish, and certain legumes, such as peanuts and soybeans. All these foods contain protein called efficient protein because the body can use it to special advantage in building new tissues and repairing old ones. Group 3. Cereal foods. Rice, barley, wheat, and corn. Breakfast foods. Hominy, flour meal, bread, crackers, macaroni, even biscuits and toast. The starch in these foods is used as fuel and keeps the body warm and supplied with energy. Some of the cereals, as corn, contain fat. Whole grain cereals also supply roughage, minerals, and vitamins. Group 4. Sweets, which the body uses for fuel. Sugar, honey, molasses, syrups, jellies, rich preserves, candy, and so on belong in this group. We need to guard against eating too much sweet food, especially before meals, or our appetites will be so dulled that we can't eat our proper share of the other groups. Some dried foods, such as figs, raisins, prunes, and dates, might also be included in this group. They can often be used instead of other sweets, and they are valuable for the minerals they contain. Group 5. Fats and fat foods. Butter, cream, lard, suet, table oils, salt, pork, bacon, chocolate, and nuts are used by the body as fuel. Fats are the most concentrated of all foods. Now let me give you a few general suggestions about meal planning. Foods which stimulate the appetite and promote digestion should be served at the beginning of the meal. That's the reason many people like to start off a dinner with a light, well-flavored soup. Rich, heavy foods should be served with lighter, more succulent foods. This evens up the calories and doesn't make too heavy a tax on the digestive system. For example, a light lettuce salad is relished with a heavy meat dish. Very sweet foods have a tendency to blunt the appetite for other foods that supply materials the body needs. It is best, therefore, to serve sweets in small quantities, or toward the end of the meal. The question of flavor is very important. We like a contrast in flavor. We do not want all the foods in one meal to be bland, or all of them to be highly seasoned. The same flavor should not be repeated too often. Even though we like tomatoes, we would not relish a meal which included tomato sauce on the meat, stewed tomatoes, and fresh sliced tomatoes. What's that? A listener over in Nebraska says she'd relish fresh sliced tomatoes with any combination of food. Now how can I give a serious lecture on meal planning with such a radical listener? She's downright subversive. Then we must consider color. Green or other bright-colored vegetables and fruits, egg yolk, yellow cheese, browned meats or bread or cake crusts all add attractiveness to food. Think of the colored food advertisements that make your mouth water if you are doubtful about the part color plays in everyday meals. Watch your colors, though, and try to serve those together that harmonize. Think what a plate would look like with beets, cranberry sauce, and fresh sliced tomatoes. Well, I declare that same lady from the same state of Nebraska says she could eat fresh sliced tomatoes if they conflicted with everything on the table. What shall I do with her? Another thing, no meal should have an overproportion of liquid, mushy, or hard foods. With stews, serve crisp breads or crackers. With a dish such as macaroni, used browned crumbs on top. With soft breads, serve a crisp salad. One more suggestion, serve hot foods hot. Serve cold foods cold, not lukewarm. I know a man who says he is positively morose for a week when his wife serves lukewarm mashed potatoes and cold biscuits. But then he has a morose disposition, draws pictures for the Sunday comic supplements. I won't talk about meal planning anymore now because I want to tell you how to prepare a boiled dinner in which the vegetables are not boiled to death. With all the different colors and textures and flavors of the vegetables in this dinner, the main dish should be quite appetizing. Please take the recipe now for boiled dinner. 8 ingredients: 4 pounds corned beef, 4 quarts water, 2 large onions cut in half, 2 large turnips cut in quarters, 3 parsnips, 5 medium carrots cut in half, 2 potatoes large, cut in halves or quarters, half head cabbage, medium cut in eighths. I shall repeat the ingredients: 4 pounds corned beef, 4 quarts water, 2 large onions cut in half, 2 large turnips cut in quarters, 3 parsnips, 5 medium carrots cut in half, 2 potatoes large cut in halves or quarters, 1/2 head cabbage, medium cut in eighths. Select a good piece of beef and cover it with 4 quarts of cold water. Allow the water to come to the boiling point and then discard it. Cover the meat again with 4 more quarts of water and let it simmer until tender. Take the meat out of the water. If the liquid is too salty, pour off part of it and add sufficient fresh water to have at least 3 pints of well-flavored broth. The vegetables are added at different times, depending upon the time needed to cook them tender. Add the onions first, then 20 minutes later, the turnips, parsnips, carrots, and potatoes. 15 minutes before these vegetables are done, add the cabbage, which has been cleaned and cut in eighths. Serve the boiled dinner on a large platter, with the meat in the center and the vegetables drained and placed neatly around it. The advantage of this method of cooking is to have the vegetables tender and yet not overcooked, as is sometimes the case in a boiled dinner. The short cooking keeps the vitamins all there. The old-fashioned method of cooking the vegetables as long as the corned beef made them limp and almost colorless and destroyed the vitamins. With the boiled dinner, crisp cornbread or muffins or crusty rolls would be just right. In the oven, at the same time, bake a loaf of gingerbread, ready to serve hot for dessert with a delicious cheese filling. Here's the recipe for the cheese filling. 5 ingredients: 2 Neuchâtel or cream cheeses, 3 cups chopped dates, 1 cup chopped nuts, half a teaspoon salt, cream. 5 ingredients: 2 Neuchâtel or cream cheeses, 3 cups chopped dates, 1 cup chopped nuts, half teaspoon salt, cream. Mash the cheese and mix with it enough cream to give it the consistency of a soft filling. Add the dates, nuts, and salt and mix well. Split open a thick loaf of hot gingerbread, spread the cheese mixture on the lower half, replace the upper part and press it down lightly. The quantity of cheese filling given here is enough for a loaf of gingerbread about 8 by 10 inches. Serve the gingerbread at once while still hot. The menu is boiled dinner. Cornbread or muffins or crusty rolls, hot gingerbread with cream cheese and date, and nut filling.
This broadcast was researched and produced by BreakAway Empire LLC.